Tomorrow could be one of the biggest days yet in the case against singer David. 21-year-old, whose real name is David Anthony Burke, is scheduled to return to a Los Angeles courtroom for a preliminary hearing. This is where a judge will decide whether prosecutors have presented enough evidence for this case to move to trial. Low standard, probable cause. Hearing is expected to last 3 days. You're going to have both sides argue over the mountain of evidence collected during this high-profile investigation. And one of the details to be discussed is whether Burke is going to appear in visible restraints while in that courtroom. Now, we know Burke has pleaded not guilty. He is innocent until proven guilty, or unless proven guilty. And the charges that he faces include first-degree murder, continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14, unlawful mutilation of human remains, because prosecutors allege he killed 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, dismembered her body, before her remains were discovered months later inside the front trunk of an impounded Tesla allegedly registered to him out in L.A. And prosecutors have also filed special circumstance allegations that could lead to the most severe penalties if he's convicted. There's also another strange twist in this case. There was a new song that was reportedly by David. It was titled Marinescence, suddenly appeared on his official Spotify page on Thursday, remained available for about 8 hours, and then kind of vanished without explanation. Obviously sparked a wave of questions online. But I want to bring in somebody who's been following this case from the very beginning. Los Angeles Magazine's Lauren Conlin arguably knows this case just as well as I do. I don't brag, but I feel like I know this case pretty well, which is why I want to start here, Lauren. Generally speaking, it's a low burden. The question I don't even think is the prosecution going to have enough to move forward? The question I have is, what are we going to learn that we don't know already? What are you going to be on the lookout for? What information are you going to say, we didn't know this beforehand?
Jesse, it's interesting because I feel like we know a lot circumstantially. There is a lot of circumstantial evidence here, but I do feel like between possible witnesses, David's friends, maybe they can testify about the relationship when maybe they notice that something might have been a little off. Celeste may have been a little bit young.
You're talking about Neil Langston and Asia Collins, because they posted on social media. Asia posted recently about her alleged conversation with David about Celeste being a minor.
I did. I saw that. I found that she was kind of talking in circles, in my opinion, and she really was trying to do damage control here. I mean, as anyone would. But yeah, I think that it's possible we do hear from them to establish this relationship or to help establish. I think it's possible that we may hear from Celeste's family. I don't anticipate them being in the gallery because I think they could be potential witnesses here, as well as David's family. I mean, we know that the grand jury was trying to call David's family and they were actively trying to fight it. I do also believe that we may hear from the medical examiner as well as the LAPD to establish her actual homicide, because we know that the medical examiner ruled her death a homicide by 2 penetrating wounds to the torso here. So, I'm wondering, I guess, how the defense is going to fight this.
They're going to challenge it. They're going to challenge it. They're going to challenge cause of death. They came out, They came out at the beginning and said, he did not murder her. He is not the cause of her death. And there's been a lot of questions between the back and forth of the medical examiner's office and the LAPD and the sealing the records. Now the ME's office is under investigation. I feel like this is going to be a sense where we see the defense challenging that.
Yeah, of course. And can the defense poke holes in everything you just said? Absolutely. But Jesse, everything we know here, I mean, what? Did somebody pop out of the bushes at David's home and stab this poor girl? I mean, he's either the unluckiest guy in the world, or there's so many coincidences. And yes, we're going to learn more, but sorry, continue.
No. I'm just going to ask you a question here. It's a big question I've had from the very beginning. In one of the prosecution's filings, they claim David lured her to his house, right? That he stabbed her and then watched her bleed out. Now, I looked at that and I said, how do they know that? Do they know that because they claim, they're assuming, they make the argument he never called emergency services, right? That's the allegation. Or was there a witness? Was there surveillance footage? Is anyone else involved in this whatsoever had knowledge? I turn it to you.
My guess, my speculation is no, they're determining this based on the medical examiner's reports, based on the autopsy. We know that this poor girl did bleed out internally, and that does take time, Jesse. I mean, you know, per the reports, it took up to 40 minutes. So I think that this was just sort of the way that they phrased this, because we all know what happened to her after she passed away. We know what happened to her remains. So I think the phrasing is that, yeah, he quote, you know, waited around before he allegedly dismembered her. And let's not forget also, I mean, in her body, there were blue fragments from the inflatable pool that was found in his garage. So I go back and say, yeah, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence here. And again, I like to come at these cases, obviously, from an unbiased perspective. Sure. But right now, all I know is what the prosecution has. I don't know what the defense is going to say. So I'm ready for it.
So two things about that, right? The blue inflatable pool, one of the items that he allegedly purchased to, you know, dismember her body, cover it up. To be clear, even if the judge determines there's enough evidence to move to trial, he's still innocent unless proven guilty. He has not been found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That's a determination for trial. Just want to make that clear. Look, I'll tell you, the digital evidence. If you're asking me one of the things I'm looking out for, are we going to know the alleged text messages between David and Celeste? Is this judge going to see the alleged child pornography that prosecutors claim are on David's devices?
I think that the text messages are definitely going to come out. The gallery, I know, in the media, we are obviously not going to see the CSAM material, but this is going to be presented. And look, should this get to trial, which I think it will, the jury will most likely see that. And it's going to be really troubling, Jesse. It's going to be really damaging, as well as autopsy photos. I mean, look, I don't think, because it's the preliminary hearings, I don't think we're going to see anything graphic like that. But Jesse, we're going to hear some graphic stuff. I do believe that's coming. And so I feel for anyone that is in the camp of Celeste Rivas Hernandez.
Me too. And I'll just tell you, it's not for gratuitous purposes to display this. It's because he's charged with continuous sexual abuse, and they make the claim that he killed her to keep her quiet about their alleged sexual relationship. Killing a witness, killing for financial gain, because the argument is if she would have exposed him, could have destroyed his whole career, which is why I also think they may call the managers and people who knew about his career, which is why you see it for 3 days. Listen, Lauren, I know you're going to be in there. I know you're going to be covering it. You have an open platform here anytime you want to come on and talk about it, okay?
Thank you so much, and I'll keep you guys updated.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.